Hello and welcome to D&D 5e, a Fire Emblem game, Heart of Ruin. How's everybody doing?
Good, yay.
We get to make it to our second week.
Are we supposed to celebrate that we didn't TPK in 1 week?
It
Yes.
is something to celebrate on. For your group, at least. Other groups haven't been so lucky.
Really?
Especially in my Warhammer game.
That's very sad.
Yeah. Sad, not
Yeah, but
hilarious at all.
that's a Warhammer.
Rolls are rolls.
Besides, Warhammer Fantasy was amazing. Until I got kidnapped by Skaven.
Were you in that game?
In one of them, yeah.
Uh,
Way back when.
A lot of fun things can happen in the world of Warhammer. So how's everybody's week been?
Been good.
Saw Spider-Man. It's
Me
good.
too. Yeah, it's really good.
Spider-Man.
Don't say any spoilers! Haha.
Like, you'll never guess. Yeah.
It's about Spider-Man.
Yep.
Peter Parker got bit
Massive
by a
spoiler.
radioactive spider again for the third time.
Spider-Man's been played
Oh, it's
by
not an
Tom
origin
Holland.
story this
Don't tell
time.
anyone.
No, it's actually really good.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll have to wait on bated breath. So, where we last left off in Heart of Ruin, you guys just completed defeating a small group of these flying demon-like puppets that, after a small investigation, we were able to tell that they weren't exactly demons, but creatures that were made manifest by these dolls that they seem to encompass. After the second encounter with an identical one of them, it seemed to show intelligence that was not its own, as it called out to you in a feminine voice, almost as if it was talking through the beast like a medium. With some cursory, objective observations, eventually, Cain was able to gather that this voice seemed to be that of his long-lost sister. Though her plans with the town or the people there was still unknown, you guys were able to repel the creature and kill two of them, as one seemed to have fled and the other two continued to head west. Thinking that you all were the main objective, you continued forth, hoping that distancing yourselves away from the town was the best option as you headed east for your overall goal, which was to make it to the graveyard of the Demon King Formatus. And that's where we pick up at the later half end of your travel. The sun is starting to crest the horizon as your group begins to pull off to a secluded area. What looks like a couple of derelict trees next to a high hill, which has a in-barrowing of a small cave-like structure at the base of it. Currently being surrounded by small bushes and everything else like that. But it's a small oasis in a plain that so far has been pretty devoid of high trees or anything like that. As you pull your wagons, horses, and feathered friends into the area after making a secure ring around it to make sure no one else is hiding or any enemies present. As this is where we open up.
Annalise looks up at the mountain peaks just with a bit of a familiar smile to them. I'm going to use now Druidcraft to see if it's going to rain tonight or what the weather's going to be. If we should retreat to that small cave we saw.
As you use your Druidcraft, you sense that there is no real change in moisture other than the natural change of evening going into night.
Okay.
The rest of you?
Sebastian is gonna try to make some small talk by saying, the mountains are quite wonderful here. Back in my hometown, all we had were hills and mounds of horse dung. But it's quite interesting seeing this varied landscape. How about you all? Have you all been to these parts?
I grew up on the side of a mountain. North of here, mind you, in Raustein. It's beautiful. These mountains are nothing in comparison, but Slarones almost reminds me of home.
Well, perhaps I asked you before, but where exactly did you come from?
Raustein. The northeastern side, I believe. Or was it west? We didn't really have much in terms of maps or compasses. It was a small village.
And I'm assuming that you enjoyed your time there, no?
I did. My family had a farm. It's quite beautiful. Peaceful.
Perhaps we might end up there in our journey, no?
Perhaps. The farm is up and running again. My mother takes care of it now, but I'm afraid the village is... It's rebuilding. Where it can.
Well, I shan't ask any more, seeing as this is me intruding into your personal life.
It's not intruding. I know this. I know I don't give off an air that these things are easy for me to talk about, and they're not, so I do appreciate your polite distance. But please don't ever feel like you're intruding.
Well, I will never try to intrude into my allies' lives, but perhaps we can talk more about our farm similarities, no?
Perhaps. You said you worked on a farm, but you didn't own the farm? Tell me about your life.
I worked in a farm. I and my mother, well, my mother not so much, but I was the only working person in my family. I had to raise 7 other siblings by myself. 7.
Goodness.
They called us the troubled ones since we always got into hijinks and whatnot. But yes, living in the farm was not so easy. I did not personally own the farm. I did own some assets, such as a horse. How else would I be able to meet you all without a horse? Well, I'm not so good at farm work, but I did spend my time doing something.
What was your trade then? Spend your time doing something else.
Well, I was a good baker. Another one of my jobs was making some bread.
A baker.
A baker, yes.
I knew many bakers in town. I'm afraid I myself was never been much of a cook.
Perhaps I could teach you some things.
I think I'd like that actually.
Then, Sebastian is just gonna gather some flowers.
Scram, did you have a trade?
Yeah, I made
You made shoes.
cobble. Yeah,
Did you make those shoes?
like lifts up his foot. Yeah, I did.
Are they well made?
They're right fancy.
They're all right. Okay.
Like fur lined around the top, like well made leather, stuff like that.
Okay. They suit you quite well.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hmm.
I was thought if we've got some time, I'd make you lot a pair, but
Who
I
taught
really had
you?
time to catch your breath.
Who taught you how to make shoes? Was it the villagers or someone from your family?
Oh, my dad. After he settled down. Yeah. Him and my mum used to go around and do shit like we are, but
Did you live with your
settled down after a
family?
while.
Did you live with your family in the village that we found you in, or had you moved there
Oh, no.
after?
I've been wandering for years.
Or
We're actually
do
heading towards my town.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Do Goliaths tend to be the solitary type, wandering by themselves?
When they go wandering, yeah, but when they settle down in their town, they tend to enjoy company. So I've got a fairly big family. Got a brother and sister waiting for me at home somewhere.
I'd like to visit them sometime. It'd be fascinating to see a Goliath village or town.
Oh, it's like a normal one. It's bigger. Yeah.
What about you,
What
Kane?
about you, Kane? You ever done anything?
Me? Or
Kane?
I believe Cain has a trade in and of itself, governing the realm, or at least preparing to.
Oh, you got to do something in your free time.
We all look over
Hobbies,
at
you
Cain.
shit?
Kane is busying himself with the horses.
Busy man. We should prepare camp.
Yeah, I'll go get some firewood.
Also the tents.
As you guys prepare, getting your firewood done, tents made, eventually, time passes enough where each of you have your own dwellings to rest for the night in comfortability. The night air caressing each one of your palates with gentle ease. It's not too cold and not too hot for a more northern area. Do you guys set up a campfire or do you leave it without?
I would assume we set up a campfire.
I'd set up a campfire. It's not like we're being immediately chased or anything, and there's probably other travelers on this road. I wouldn't mind interacting with a few more people. So I'll leave the campfire up.
Yeah, I'm guessing we'll just make sure it isn't too smoky, so I don't give away where we are.
Then campfire is made. Are you guys making any set watches?
Unless anyone opposes, I'll take my usual last shift. I enjoy the morning light and watching the sunrise.
I think I'll take the first watch.
I'll take seconds.
guess Kane will take third.
I'm sure Vannon will stay up at some point and just watch over us anyways, but it sounds good for our set shifts.
So as the later half of the night passes by, bellies filled with the rations that you're able to take, aided with whatever small fowl or creatures Vannon was able to gather while you guys reached here. You get to a point of the night where the tiredness starts to hit some of you, but not before you have any chance to say any final thoughts before heading to bed.
I think I'll go and see where Kane is right now.
Yeah, I'm picturing all of us sitting around a campfire, but did Kane joining us, or does he seem like he's purposely trying to avoid us at this point?
No, he's joining you guys. He's just quiet.
Okay.
I'm gonna go up to Kane and I'm gonna say, perhaps I can borrow you for a second.
Of course. What do you need?
I beckon Kane towards a tree not too far off from the campsite. And then I say, it's about the other day. It's well, it was when you went to my room so that we could discuss for a little bit. Do you perhaps remember?
Yes, of course I do.
Well, I just wanted to say that I apologize for storming off like I did. Perhaps
No, please don't apologize. I crossed a line.
No, you shouldn't be the one who's apologizing. It's, of course, not your fault that you do not understand my point of view, my position. A person of nobility such as yourself, of course it's going to be difficult to understand a simple commoner such as myself, but perhaps you could tell me a bit more about why it is you feel as though you cannot compare yourself to the common person. We are, after all, humans, no?
Yes, of course. But it's as you said, I can't come close to comprehending anything you've been through.
I say that our situations are not that different. We both are from different backgrounds, but our struggles are similar. We have people who we care about. We try to do everything to protect them. And of course, I joined you to search for my sister. And it seems as though you might have found your own long-lost sister, but in the worst way possible. She seems to be against you for whatever reason. So I just want you to know that although we may come from different backgrounds, we can fight together as comrades. That I promise you. And if you need help, I will try my best to do anything to assist you or the party.
Thank you, Bastion. At this time, Keen looks across to the other party members. The only ones I want to protect are right here.
Sebastian sort of lets out a sigh, and he says, well, I will be taking the first watch, so perhaps it would be best for all of you to get some rest.
As they kind of stand from the campfire and make their way to their own tent, Annalise just quickly shimmies over to Scram. Just nightly checking in. How are you? Have you done any more reading?
No. It's a bit weird. Try not to read it until I need to. You know what I mean?
I can imagine. Does it always emit power even when simply studying the tome?
I really don't know, honestly. I'd be cautious, I think is the word, around it. It hasn't spoke to me, which is weird. It
hasn't spoke to you, and it's weird that it hasn't spoken to you.
Well, like, when I first met him, he never stopped. He was yapping all day. Well, felt like a couple of months, but past couple of days he's been silent. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I don't know. I'll pray over it and see if I can discern what it might be. If you do have need to or want to study it, I'd like to sit with you when you do. It would probably be beneficial to know what we're tampering with before we get into the heat of any sort of combat or stressful situation.
Alright. Wake me up for your watch and I'll sit there and read with you if you like.
I will. She kind of smiles and heads back to her own tent. She kind of gives Vannon a bit of a nod as she heads to the tent.
Have a good night, he'll say, pausing his katas to say it.
You as well. And she stops and kind of half turns back. Vannon, I hope this isn't intrusive. How are you sleeping these days? I know it's only been a few nights.
About the same as before. You can't let danger and worry for the future stop you from getting a good night's rest. That'll only just make the next day worse.
She kind of takes that in, takes a couple steps closer, and you're just sitting, cleaning some game. Is what you said?
No, I said practicing katas. It's kung fu.
Okay. It's
actually, as you get close enough to, you also notice that while he was practicing, he actually has the toy sword in his hand.
She makes note of it, but doesn't comment. One day, I'd like you to teach me. Not about how you don't worry about the future. I don't think I'll ever lose that. But how it is that you're so easily... I don't know. How you're so... How you're able to put the past behind you. I know we've spoken on it before, but I think it's something that I'm needing to learn more and more, especially with everything that we're going through and all the new dangers that there are. One day.
I shall try.
Thank you,
Van. You spend some time at a monastery to learn a bit of it, but...
Well, Sebastian was saying that maybe one day we'd visit my home. I'd like to visit Scram's. Maybe one day we'll visit yours.
If it's still there.
If, yes. And there we are with the past again. I'm sorry for bringing it up. Good night, Vannon. Sleep well.
You too.
I turn and head back into my tent.
So, as everyone retires to their own night dwellings as the night watches go by, All of them seem to go pretty uneventful. The occasional night creature or vermin currently scurrying about the small entrance of the cave and through the shrubbery that's here. A couple of hoots from owls in the distance. Nothing that seems to prelude anything too dangerous that the group of you couldn't handle.
Are these owls black owls?
Roll of perception.
Dang it.
They are not black owls. As the night continues to progress, it eventually gets to the final tail end of your guys' watch. Annalise, as you're on it, the sound of creaking wheels and the ever-familiar present sound of hooves hitting onto the hard ground.
I would like to point out that Scram is also awake. I woke him up with my watch, as we had discussed.
But I do have a passive perception of 11, so I probably don't hear anything.
Correct.
Scram, pause for a moment. I think someone's approaching.
Alright, I went this nice or scary.
How early is it? Like, is it still before the sun is up? Because we'd probably wake with the dawn. We're just camping outside.
If the presumed idea of you taking 3-hour shifts, then the sun is on its way up.
Hour. There's no village or town nearby, I say to Scram. This seems odd that someone would be traveling so late in the night.
Might be a supply caravan. Might be
Could be
ferry.
any sort of caravan. It's still odd that they're traveling so late at night. Perhaps we
Might
should
be
meet them
fair.
on the road before they catch the others.
Go wake up the others.
How close is it to dawn? Is it about time to wake up the others anyways?
About an hour or two.
They should get their rest. They've all done their own watches, I'm sure.
Oh, well, I can make a lot of noise if I need to, so I should be able to wake them up.
We should meet the caravan on the road, though, or at least see them from the road.
Yeah.
Don't want to be caught off guard to see what they are.
I take my sword off my back and stick it in the ground by the camp. Probably best so they've seen me with that. Give the wrong idea.
I can't quite leave my walking stick behind. She stands and leans on her staff. Let's head forward.
Right.
And try to be stealthy about it, I suppose.
I'm a master of stealth.
I am not.
So yeah, I guess we stealth up to the camp? To the cart, sorry?
Try to see what it is before it gets too close to camp. I have a fairly high passive perception, so I'm guessing that I heard it from a little ways off. Should we roll some stealth checks?
If you're intentionally not trying to be seen, then yes.
Actually not a bad roll.
Oh, I don't have disadvantage. I don't know why it's saying that. Oh, no, wait, I do. I'm wearing armor. Yep. That's a 6.
So, Scram, you with your height, you elbow into the hill as you peek your head over, looking at... It's not a large caravan at all. It's barely even a caravan. You see a large wagon being ridden by 2 horses, or being pulled by 2 horses, and ridden by a young human female next to a covered person that you assumed is asleep on her lap next to her. And as you're peering, trying to see more, Annalise comes bumbling by next to you.
All right.
It's kind of like, shh, God. What are you
I'm
wearing
sorry,
now?
there's a lot of shifting rocks and I need to use my walking staff. Well, good day. It's not like she didn't see us already, so.
Yeah, that's cast a light on my staff. Hello.
Hello there, she would say, with the mound next to her, like, picking its head up to see a young boy that looks like he's around 15 years old.
You're just passing through the pass then. Heading west. East. Heading east. Directions.
No, we're heading west.
Oh, they're coming up. Okay, they're not going with us, they're going the opposite way.
Yes.
You might want to be careful heading west. We saw some big things flying that way.
I'm sure you've heard tale of the demons. They're getting bolder. Hard to say.
I wish we had a choice, but she would say, looking at her little brother and or young boy, as she pets him on the head. We have a
How are you
mission
feeling?
ahead.
What sort of mission? If you don't mind me asking, you don't mean to intrude, of course.
Not too long ago, I was given a vision. It was strange because it was of my father, who's passed a long time ago, but for some reason it felt like whatever happened, he finally went to rest. So we plan to go in that direction and hopefully find the reason why I feel like this. But it's odd. Are you gonna stay there and just speak at the hill?
Oh yeah, cool. Sort of like make my way down to the road. Supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, no, I was under the impression, yeah, sorry, I didn't say it, but yes, I was, when I called out, I was walking towards them. Your father, who was he?
He was a great, great man. He used to be a musician for some of the greater barons in the area. Though
And
he died a long time ago.
and do you feel his soul's not at peace?
For a long time I didn't. Like he was just wandering or trapped, but a couple of
Did he
weeks
perhaps,
ago, it felt different.
your father, I don't mean to intrude or bring up bad memories, but did he fall near the Hyden Plain?
Yeah, do you play violin?
How did you know?
We actually encountered
Oh.
his spirit when it was still tied to the plane.
She looks a little bit in disbelief as you bring all this up all at once, and you're not trying to play me for...
No, not at all. Your father, if it's who we encountered, he was a great musician.
Tallish guy, coat, hat.
You're describing half the men in the realm.
She would put like a hand up to her mouth and like shocked. Like, you did see him.
Could
Did.
say the snout and wings, you know.
What were you hoping to do? Visit your father's grave? Or when you're traveling?
She begins to start to cry as the little boy just like looks
Oh.
up in the
Oh,
back.
darling.
He's like, "Why'd you make my sister cry?"
I did not mean to.
And she pats him on the side. No, this is happy tears. Thank you so much. She says, getting off of the wagon and like coming and grabbing you by both hands. It's like, thank you.
You're welcome. In truth, I did not know what I was doing, but that's, of course. If you, I look over to Scram, like, help me. I don't.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, Gus was camping and he sort of showed up, so it was like, hey. He was like, oh, dudes. So.
It seemed it was fate. And I kind of take her hands, like, just kind of off my shoulders, but take her hands kind of in my own. This was fate that your father was supposed to find peace. We just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
But I feel that what I was going through wasn't just my own emotions. I'm glad that he can finally rest.
Do you still plan on heading out that way?
I think my journey led me here, she says as she moves to the back of the wagon, as she brings out a wrapped object that looks to be around, like, arm's width and about a foot thick or less, as she comes towards you. Please, this is out of gratitude.
I could not possibly accept any sort of gifts. Please, no.
We did what felt right at the time. Like, that's yours.
This was my plan all along. If what I thought was true, that someone actually did the favor of putting him to rest. You completed our mission for us, she says with a smile. I insist.
I look at the object.
What is it?
Yeah.
She would unwrap it as it looks to be a very master craft violin.
I'm going to insight check her.
It's made in something of a mixture between deep colored woods and lined with shimmering metal, but at the same time you can see that it has age to it. It's something that looks more like an artifact than a common person's play violin.
I couldn't possibly take your family heirloom. This is far too much. And again, I will insight check her, because if I remember correctly, when we still had that assassin following us, okay, that should just be normal rolls, that's 25. When we had that assassin following us, that was still when this happened. So just on the safe side, insight check the girl.
See, she seems genuinely ecstatic and overjoyed through the news that you guys told her. You don't sense any malicious actions in this at all.
Does Annalise give away at all that she's suspicious? Do you frown, like cock your head slightly or whatever?
I mean, I probably would have given her a bit of a discerning look that you've seen me use before, especially on yourself, when you were reading the book. And she's not terribly great at deception or charisma-based things, so you probably noticed something. But she doesn't like give any sort of like or like outward exaggerated kind of look.
Seeing that look, I'm just gonna quick flick my hands, but let my eyes roll back. As I cast detect magic, hastened with sorcery. Do I see anything?
Only magic you see are 2? Yeah, 2 blimps. Coming from you and Annalise.
Ignore the couple of storms. It's clear. Nothing like coming from anywhere near the cart or around the kid and magic. Not some sort of secret dwarf assassin.
You do not.
So look at Annalise, like eyes roll back. There's no way going on.
My dear, are you sure about this? It seems like this is obviously priceless to your histories, to your family. Would you not want to keep your father's memory throughout your own family? Maybe one day your brother or yourself could play it and learn to play.
No. My father taught us that we always treat those that treat us right, with kind. You've done our family, she says, looking back to her brother, and back to you, the greatest boon that we could ever ask for. The knowledge that our father is at rest peacefully.
I hate to impose or imply anything, but your family, is it just two of you? No.
And our mother, but she's back in Roston.
Which village in Rosting?
You're all.
She's on the Green Hill.
Do I know the Green Hill? Is it anywhere
Green
near?
Hill is one of the more northern towns
Okay, yeah.
in Roston, but not high north. It's more towards the woods.
More towards the Darkling Woods there?
Yes.
Marked on the map? Okay, that's like the same area I'm from. So I'm guessing I know it.
Are you all doing all right there? Like comfortable for food, money, shelter?
We have enough back for the trip back.
You have enough while you're there. You're giving us something of great value. You could sell that and live off it for years.
This violin, while it's quite a kind gift, it's never going to hold the same emotional weight that it would for you. I wouldn't feel right taking this off your hands. You have shown me a great kindness in remembering and honoring your father's spirit and telling me what kind of man he was. That in itself is enough gift for us. To see a tangible impact from the good that we try to do in the world.
So we kind of frown at this. It's like, are you sure?
I'll tell you what.
Scram.
Like fumbles around about, pulls up his gold pouch, like, chucks out about 50 into his hand and sort of hands him to the girl. You take that and you get your little brother in violin lessons. Teach him how to play it so we can do your father's memory justice. And if he happens to bump into an old Goliath when he's like a little bit older, play me a song.
She would look at that in surprise and just look back at you, Scram, for just giving a tearful nod. Fine. If that suffices.
Miss, if I may, when you travel back home to Green Hill, it would be a little out of your journey, a little out of your way, but if you wouldn't mind stopping by the village of Waymead, there's a small farm on the southeastern edge of it. My mother lives there. Her name is Irina Fletcher. You could just tell her that I'm all right. Send her my love. I would be more than grateful. I actually, and she pulls out a letter that she's had for a little while and passes it to the girl. If you could deliver this, that'd be honestly more than any sort of repayment there that you could grant us.
She takes this in tow with the gold and like presses it to her chest. You can count on me.
Thank you.
Thank you both. From
No, don't worry.
My eyes are open.
From one person to another.
And
Thank you.
what of advice? There are more demon activity, less so in Rustine. So you should head back soon and try to travel by the daytime. Why were you traveling so late at night?
We traveled with the rise of the sun.
Well, you said it was an hour until daybreak. Because we would wake up with the dawn.
Yes, that's true. That's what she said.
The sun hasn't risen yet.
It's odd. My father always went by. She pulls out a strange-looking device that seems to be on tumblers of sorts and whatnot, and it has a mark of the sun on it and a moon that seems to have a dial slowly ticking over it.
Curious. All the same, perhaps travel when there's light in the sky. You can better watch the road. Thank you. Farah. Annalise, this is Scram.
What?
But when you see my mother, please tell her that Anya's all right. She might be confused otherwise.
I can do that.
Thank you.
So with that... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna be like, all right, Scram, we should probably head back to the camp.
Do you want some help turning your cart around? Sit down to get off road.
She smiles and shakes her head. Our 2 mules can handle it. Thank you, though.
Right. Stay safe.
You as well. She inclines her head once more, waves, and with that, they turn off to leave, leaving you two left on the road. The small head of the boy peeking out on the other side of the wagon as he watches this both of you shrink in the distance as they leave.
Scram, do you play any instruments?
Nah, always wanted to though. That's why I sort of encouraged you once.
Me too. I bought a flute actually when we left Reneus and just haven't had the gumption yet to try to play it.
Oh, you should. Might make Bannon smile occasionally.
I mean, I used to know someone who played flute when they were quite little. They showed me a few of it, but I'm afraid at this point it would just be screeching and noise.
Everything comes with practice, doesn't it?
We turn and head back to camp.
So as the both of you head back to camp, eventually the time passes as the sun rises and everybody begins to wake at their own intervals that they see fit. Once everybody's rose, what do you guys do then? Do you let them know, or do you just keep that between the two of you?
First thing Bannon says when they get back to camp is, you should have invited them for breakfast.
Probably.
I gave them 50 gold, I'm sure they'd be alright.
Bannon's making porridge with apples and cinnamon in it for breakfast for everyone.
Do you always have one ear out listening to the world? Listening to
Of
other
course.
people?
I'm a bird.
You're a man.
The Lord
Good man.
Yes. Thank you, Scram.
You're always welcome.
How about you, Bannon? Do you play any instruments?
He pulls out some little reed pipes. Not very well, but I do have little pipes.
Give us a show then.
Okay, he'll attempt with a performance check, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Oh, damn. So he plays a nice little Celtic melody with his reed pipes, I guess.
As you're doing that, I'm behind you. It's like throwing up some the stick. Oh my god. Some magic
Prestos?
fireworks and stuff like that. Yeah, some presto.
And much to your guys' surprise, it actually comes out pretty darn well for the equipment he's using. You weren't expecting it to have such a gentle melody to it or any kind of makeup to actually have enough of a impact as it did, but it's not too bad.
Venom looks down at him as if he's just as surprised it turned out as good as it did.
Venom, that's wonderful. How come you haven't played for us before?
Never really occurred to me. I guess I could try more often.
I'd love to hear it more. Thank you.
You sure?
Reminds me
You
of
make some money on the road with
And
that.
scram with your fireworks in the background there. You guys could put on a right show. It reminds me of the traveling shows that used to come village to village.
Do you other two wake up?
Yeah, Kane approaches you all and is like, well, everyone's rather lively this morning.
Simply in a good mood is all.
Sebastian's gonna pop out as well, and he's gonna have just the most disheveled hair possible and say, "Oh, are we doing a party right now?"
Seems that way. Do you play any
Celebration
instruments
indeed.
then?
Wait, what?
Do you play any instruments? Can you join in?
Yes, I used to play a small stringed instrument called the mandolin. I don't know where there is one, though I haven't been able to see one ever since I was in Grado.
Mandolin. Do I know what that is? Yes. So I guess the omnipotent DM
Roll an
in
intelligence
Annalise's
check.
voice. Intelligence check. Just a small town girl. Okay, where am I? Yeah.
You get an idea that you think you know what it is, though what you're thinking is something purely off of what other people say, and your initial idea is, oh, is he talking about a guitar or a lute?
Yeah, like I'm picturing like a fiddle or like a lute, I think. All right. Well, maybe you can find one on the journey. Music could probably make this 3-day journey less dreary.
I really hope so, because last I checked, they were exclusively made in Grado.
Well, if we start by Casino, we'll hit up the market, see if we can find you one.
We'll need to
That'll be important.
restock anyways when we head back to the pass. I'm sure we'll have to stop for a small town in a little while. Kane, how about yourself? Do you play any instruments? Castle trained and all.
No, nothing like that.
Suppose you only really have trumpets at castles, don't they?
I think that's more the fanfares, less so the princes.
True.
Well, it seems we're all awake. Let's pack up camp and make the final stretch.
And as you all begin to pack up your necessities, getting in a couple of more cursory views, Vannon, to see if there's any wildlife in the area that could be useful for eating later. You make your trek back onto the road and to your main quest to head east and find the grave of Formatus, the Demon King. With that, we're going to take our first break. So, thank you guys for watching. We're going to take about a 10 to 15 minute break. This will be the time for you to stand up, use the restroom, all that fun stuff. And we will catch you back here in that time. So, peace.